Hello and welcome back to my Lupus diary. My name is Disha and I hope you guys are doing great. So to begin with today's topic, this is all about I had my third stroke on 25th of January 2024 and it actually affected my speech, yes. And saying so, today's topic is all about stroke always gives you warning days ahead. Yes, it does. And sometimes it tells you different warnings a month ago, and that is what the doctors need to look. The first thing you need to do is watch out for any changes that are body showing up, which is not normal, which I always tell even in case of any chronic disease, right? So now, well, when I started suffering from stroke on this year, I had signals that I was going to face something very bad. I had slurred speech in medical terms, or you can say I used to speak a bit fumbled very often by the end of December and start of January. Now, lupus being lupus on its own, it mimicked this time also because it gave me a tooth pain, and when I went to the dentist, it was like I have a cavity and blah blah blah. Rest is history. A week later, I ended up in the ICU with a stroke. Yes. Now, 3 strokes down the line, I have few things that I've been through and which have affected me. And when I say that, I think if you go through any of the symptoms, you can go to your doctor and tell them, please do something. I suspect a stroke down the line, and that can, if not avoid the stroke, at least give you a proper treatment on time, because stroke gives you a frame. Yes, mostly stroke comes with a 4-hour window. So if you are getting your treatment done in that 4-hour window, stroke can be revered, which is very important and very crucial. Now, okay, the first sign I had in all 3 strokes that I've suffered was speech. Yes, every time I had a stroke, even whenever I was hemi-paralyzed in my first stroke in 2003, I had a slurred speech, as well as I used to speak very slow, as if something is stopping, or I'm overthinking before I speak. But that was not the case. I did not realize it. After that, the second sign that my body gave during my first 2 strokes was numbness. Yes, during my recent stroke this year, I had no numbness whatsoever. Otherwise, my first 2 strokes, I used to have numbness in my fingers, in my foot, but this year it was not the case. Now, with the third sign that I always need to be careful is that sometimes when you're going to have a stroke, your emotions and the level of stress really matters, and that was what happened. I was overwhelmed with small little things. Anxiety kicks in. You cry for no reason. You have problems that we have faced before, and sometimes it just makes you feel that just it's the end of the world, and that what's what happened. This small little signs makes me think that if you observe any changes, get it ruled out. It may be hormonal, it may not be hormonal. Lupus has a tendency of mimicking many disorders, and that was the same in my case. Do not get fooled with this. Please make sure you get proper treatment on time. And as I told you before, that lupus always will give you different signs. So will stroke. Now, one thing that you have to remember always is that stroke is reversible. It comes with a 4-hour window in which if you take the antidote, the stroke can be reversed and the amount of organs affected will be stopped, will be less. So in my case this year, because I got my treatment on time in that 4-hour window frame, I was saved and only my speech got affected. Now, when I got my first stroke, I got hemiplegic because it took me 12 hours to get detected. Because back then in 2003, everything was not this fast. So yeah, with technology today, things are better, treatments are better, diagnosis can be better. Now, the latest stroke, I couldn't get antidote though. I was in the hospital the same hour I suffered the stroke. Because the anticoagulant I was on had no antidote, so I had to suffer. But always remember to check with your doctor that if you are suffering from anything that can cause stroke, then you should be on an anticoagulant that has an antidote available so that you can save yourself. God hasn't been kind. God has been grateful that this show only affected my speech and I can still talk this well, and at least you guys can understand. If not, obviously you can read it. But I appreciate that people are more empathetic, and also one thing that triggers my lupus, my stroke, every single time has been stress. Yes. So say no to stress in any given situation. Even if the world is ending tomorrow, let it. It's not in your control. Just don't set out. Breathe. That is what Mr. Invisible tells me every single time. Then, just breathe. If you Mr. Invincible, who is invisible right now, but yes, that I should always breathe whenever I feel anxious or when I'm overthinking. Okay, it doesn't give you any positive results, it just stresses you out. Secondly, if you work, make sure your work culture is not toxic. So where I used to work last was a very toxic place. They spy my LinkedIn, they used to spy where I'm going, what I'm doing, and sometimes being under and work with toxic people who doesn't trust you when you say you're not well just because you have an invisible illness which is not prominent and it doesn't show on your face, and you have been a patient for so long that now you don't cry and show it on your face that often that people misunderstand you and judge you otherwise. So the best part is work for yourself. Work as a freelancer, work for yourself, work for your health, if nothing else. And as I said, stroke always gives you signs. Few signs that you should also remember other than the speech and numbness is your jawline. Yes. Can you join your teeth in one single alignment? This has to be straight. This is also a sign. It can go either way. So that is a smile. Can you smile straight? If your smile is crooked, that's also a sign. When you take your tongue out, it should be straight. It should not go either way. That is also a sign that stroke gives you. Well, in my case, most of the times, even if I'm better, it just mimics. And I just end up with a stroke. So, watch out, be careful, protect yourself, be on an anticoagulant that is having an antidote in case of positive stroke if you have one. I hope God is kind and you never have to go to a stroke, but just in case. So always talk to your doctors about it. I'm 3 strokes down the line, and yeah, one thing I've learned is until you don't give up, life never gives up on you. So I'm ready to fight this fight. I'm not losing on it, so should not you, right? And on this positive note, just keep smiling. Tell who always rest and no stress. As I said, even though if the world is ending in front of you, relax. That is what you need to do. Let the world die and you be happy. Because nobody will be suffering more than what you will be suffering in the end. So always remember that the only person who will suffer the most is you and your family if you are sick. So stay well, stay positive, avoid stress, and try to rule out the symptoms way before you actually end up with a stroke, or at least you should know the stroke and reach out to medical assistance as soon as possible. Take care. Have a nice life. Stay blessed. Bye bye.